What a wonderful moment. And they're all with me now in the studio. Carl, Hester, Laura Bechtolsheimer and Charlotte Dujardin. Congratulations. I mean, you must have hoped that you would win any medal, because that would be a historic moment. But to see you all sitting here with your gold medals, Carl, how does it feel?
I mean, the timing's just been amazing, you know, that we actually have these three great horses all at the same time. And they were all with us here for London, and they're very, very different ages. You know, Laura's horse is very experienced at 17, and Charlotte's is the youngest horse at 10 years old. So, you know, really combined differences, and all with different qualities.
Younger horse, but known as the Lionel Messi of dressage. Explain why, Charlotte.
Well, I only really started last year with that horse. He was only 9 last year, and I started my first year last year at that Grand Prix. So yeah, we never competed at Olympics as well, so it was great.
Laura, what has your experience been like? Because some of us may not have watched that much dressage before the big moment yesterday. So explain to us what it takes to get out there in the arena, produce that result.
Well, it kind of depends on your horse. With my horse, like Carl said, he's already 17 years old, but he has been quite a long-winded project, because he was mentally, he found the movements and everything, all the technical side, quite easy from a young age, but he found that coping with the pressures of competition and big crowds, that was sort of the thing that he found most difficult. So it's taken me quite a long time to get him to a point where I can ride in front of 25,000 people and sort of still keep him under control and make him still pull off a good performance.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are big crowds, and there's the kind of crowd that you had there at Greenwich, which, you know, was absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, I mean, we're not used to riding in front of those sort of audiences, and, you know, it's common in Europe, where dressage is very popular, not so seen over here in England, but hopefully now it will be. But I think, you know, what happens when you ride your horse into a stadium like that, you know, you get a very different feeling that you're not used to, because obviously, like, training at home is one thing, and then, you know, the atmosphere of a stadium like that can create tension, and then you've got something else to deal with. And, you know, dressage is, you know, has to look relaxed and easy, but sometimes when you ride in, and especially obviously with a home crowd, you know, a lot of cheering and clapping before we even started. And one of the first movements you have to do is actually canter up the centre line and stand still. Well, you know, you try telling your horse to stand still when he's just got very excited about a load of people clapping and cheering. You know, you have to really have the horse on side.
Is that one of the hardest things about it, the harmony, Charlotte, between the horse and the rider?
Yeah, I mean, it takes years to build that up. I mean, we've been riding our horses for 6-7 years, and getting that bond and that trust for them to be able to relax and enjoy it.
And your worst nightmare then is that, having done that bond, and this is your routine where we see you in perfect harmony with Allegro, your worst nightmare is that something goes wrong and your horse perhaps is ruled out for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a worry, but we just obviously have to take care, and, you know, we have them, well, they're just looked after very carefully, and we hope nothing does happen.
Laura, what was your routine like? I mean, how you planned that particular routine, and you're trying to bring out the very best in your horse.
Do you mean the routine as in the test
yes.
that we ride? Well, yeah, it was a new test for this year, just for the Olympics, the Grand Prix special that we rode yesterday. It was a slightly shortened format, and so we've had this year to practice it, and it's always quite strange when you first ride a new test, because obviously we're quite used to riding the same tests all the time. So it's, you know, quite interesting, us riders getting our heads around the new routine. You keep thinking, oh, I've got to turn left, oh no, I've got to turn right, and then obviously for the horses as well. But it's you sort of practice it at home and try and compete the different routines a certain amount of times in the year's preparation, and then really it's, you know, it shouldn't be too difficult, because essentially a Grand Prix dressage horse is supposed to be very well trained and on the rider's aids, and essentially if you ask it to do something, that's what it's supposed to do. So
I think we can safely say that horse and riders all got their heads around it successfully yesterday. Carl, there's an interesting story linking all of you, because wasn't it Laura's parents who gave you one of your first big breaks?
It was,
what
yeah.
happened?
Well, I'm from Sark in the Channel Islands, so I came to England because I wanted to work with horses, and I had a job over here as a groom and a rider for a family, and I was actually getting to the point where I didn't think, you know, I was going to be able to stay over here and make a living from it. And Laura's father telephoned the selectors who were actually looking after the under-21s and said if there was anybody that they thought might be looking for a job or had the talent to go and be a rider for them. And so I went for an interview and got the job. And Laura was probably about 3 years old, I think, at the
So
time.
you don't remember? You don't remember?
I do
But she
remember.
does, because I did
He used
some
to bully
terrible
me.
things to Laura when she was a child, locking her in tack rooms and forgetting about her and things
Feed
like
rooms.
that. Feed rooms, yeah, with all the mice.
And then,
so-
much later on, Charlotte came to work at your yard.
Yeah, well, Charlotte came to work for me and has been with me 6 years. And she started at the bottom, like everybody does as well.
As a groom?
As a groom, yeah. And then I said to her she could ride some of the young horses, and at that time, Allegro was one of those young horses.
Wow.
And so I put them together as a partnership. And, you know, sometimes, you know, if, you know, there are lots of talented people out there, but if somebody doesn't give them a break, you just never get seen again. And I'm just fortunate I was able to do for her what Dr. B did for me, really.
Was he a hard taskmaster, Charlotte?
No, he's great, I have to say. I know I should probably say yes, but no, he was great. He's, you know, there's never a day where you have a bad day. He's always fun and makes it really enjoyable.
But you first wanted to be a jockey, didn't you? You weren't sure that dressage was the thing for you.
Yeah, I did showing first, yes, and I was always trained by a dressage trainer, and she's always trying to get me into doing dressage when I was doing the showing, and I wasn't quite sure. And then I watched a DVD of Carl, and that was it.
Wow. And then you all ended up together in that extraordinary place right at the top of the medal podium. Carl, now Charlotte actually ended up with a higher score on her round than you did.
That is true. It was quite interesting because yesterday morning I read in the paper before it started, and they said, I think that Carl will probably end up working for Charlotte after today, and I thought, that's not going to happen. No way, I'll have to ride extra hard today. And I did ride the best I could yesterday, and obviously ended up a percent behind her, but, you know, there wasn't a lot more for me to get out yesterday. And Allegro is an extraordinary world-class horse, so, you know, he just got above me a little bit.
But what happens next to the horses? Because I know you part-own Allegro, don't you? But,
Yeah.
I mean, they're worth a lot of money. Will they be in another Olympics?
Yeah, they should both be in another Olympics. I mean, they're
Not
10
necessarily
and 11,
with you.
Not necessarily with us. They're 10 and 11 years old. I mean, I've had Allegro since he was 2 years old, and Utopia, my horse, since he was 4 years old. But you know, they have part owners, and they specifically kept them for us so that we could do the Olympics, and we've trained them for the Olympics, and it's all worked out. It's a fairy tale story. And, you know, what happens next we have to discuss when we get home, really. But, you know, there's always another horse to train and bring on, and we've got a yard full of horses, and that's what we'll be working
But after you've
for.
developed a bond with, in Charlotte's case, with a horse like Allegro, it must be very sad to think of not working with them anymore. I don't know if you've seen the papers this morning, but there's a rather unfortunate picture on the front of the Express, which is celebrating Britain's gold medals, but rather unfortunately has a picture of the Dutch bronze medalists rather than the three of you. Hopefully this kind of thing is not going to happen in the future, because you've put dressage on the map.
No, that would be really nice to know. I mean, apart from the fact they're also 2 girls and a boy, they're nothing like us. Yeah, it's a shame that, you know, mistakes like that happen, because, you know, as everybody here at the Olympics, we work extremely hard at our sport. It's you know, it's a 7-day a week with horses as well to get to this level, and it's fantastic that we've managed to bring it to the front, because I think people's perception of it hasn't always been great before. But I mean, you know, we are 3 very hard-working people that
Especially
train
because
our own
lots of people,
horses.
Laura, will think, you know, this is a very, very expensive hobby or sport to be part of. It takes a lot of money to have a horse at this kind of level and be able to look after it and train it.
Yeah, I think for us, the main legacy to leave behind from having the Equestrian Olympics actually at the heart of the Olympics in Greenwich, rather than being outside of the town that's hosting the Olympics, which
Yes,
is
because
often
in Beijing it was in Hong Kong.
Exactly. I think for us, the main legacy is trying to show that, you know, like Carl was saying in the interviews yesterday, that we're 3 people from extremely different backgrounds who've all had very different paths to getting here, and to show that, you know, equestrian sport is a sport that's for anyone who wants to get into it. You know, there's ways of accessing you know, different disciplines in the equestrian sport and getting involved, and if you're prepared to put in the hard work and you've got talent, then there's, you know, you can make your own way to the top.
And your route into it, Charlotte, was just that you loved horses?
Yeah, and it was just a passion and a dream, and it was a fight, you know. It was something I always wanted to do, and I didn't want to give up on it. I just, you know, it's mad to think I've done it now and got that gold medal.
Well, how wonderful. And being equestrians, you could have many, many more Olympics ahead of you. Now, we've been asking all the Olympians about stamps and post boxes. So There are stamps already on sale. In terms of the post boxes, is yours going to be in stock, do you think, Carl?
I think it is going to be in stock. I was told yesterday there is only one post box in stock, and it's probably very rusty and very old, and has stood there for years. And I hope that they're excited to have a gold one on the island. There's only like 600 people there, so I think in the age of us all using telephones, I'm going to go back there next week. I'm going to have to write a letter now so I can put my own letter through the post box.
Well, it sounds like perhaps about time that particular post box had a fresh lick of paint.
Yeah, I think it probably does.
Well, thank you very much for being with us this morning. Congratulations again. And I know you're going to all be going on to compete individually?
Yeah.
Is that right? When does that take place? Tomorrow? When you're going to be competing against each other?
Yeah, you know, tomorrow is like for the top 18 from yesterday's test. So the three of us, thankfully, have all qualified, and we're quite high up. We're all in the last group together. So Charlotte's only 2 after me, so I won't be able to train her tomorrow. So maybe I'll get my chance to beat her tomorrow.
Never.
Well, we will be watching and looking forward to welcoming you back, hopefully after success in your individual round. So thank you very much. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the golden glow that you're all basking in.
Thank
very
you.
well done.